Okay. Mr. Jordan, how do you feel about gun control?
I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps and proudly was an expert rifleman. Those of you that have fired a weapon understand what I'm talking about. I fired the M1 from 500 yards in a prone position. I hit a bullseye this round 8 out of 10 times. And I was proud to say I was an expert rifleman. You had to shoot from other areas 200 yards and 300 yards as well. But that felt so good when they waved that flag saying, hey, bullseye. I understand how everybody feels about guns. Obviously, we all have guns. Each and every one of us probably has a gun somewhere, and we're proud of that, right? Because when I hear that knock on that door, I hear that window break at night, I want to be ready. I want to be ready indeed. My sons hunt. I've done a little bit of that myself. So our weapons, I think, are safe with the Second Amendment. But I have a fear. I have a fear, and you might use the word preposterous when I say this, but I'm going to say this to you right now. If the Democrats retain the Congress after the next election, I'm telling you right now, they're going to look at taking your guns. You're saying, Harold, wait a minute, it's the Second Amendment, they can't. No, I'm saying they're going to look at taxing your guns. Think about this. I had somebody that mentioned this to me. He said, Harold, do you think it could be possible? I said, look at what they've been doing. Why wouldn't it? Why couldn't it be possible? A tax on your guns. You can keep your guns. Keep your guns. But if they can force somebody to buy health care, don't think for one minute they could not force you to pay a levy on the guns you own. And think about the billions of dollars that would bring into the Treasury of the United States if they could put a tax on your guns, because you'll give up your money before you'll give up your guns. And that's exactly right. You got that right. So I'm just saying, folks, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying with what we've seen, the conduct of this Congress and this administration, don't think for 1 minute that that hasn't been talked about, thought about. And don't think that it won't possibly have some kind of legs to it as they float other things like amnesty and a few other things and see how things go. Just keep a very close eye on it. Remind your friends about that might want to sit out this next election. Just remind your friends about a few things. The Second Amendment has to stand for what it stands for under any circumstances. Thank you.
I think Harold touched on this earlier, but many folks talk about the American dream. How do you define the American dream, and what is your view on how we keep this alive for all Americans and future generations to come? We can see how our dreams are going down the drain, but give us a little more information on that.
Such a wonderful question, because we live in such a wonderful country that has given everybody, every one of us in this room has had the opportunity to reach out and grab a little piece of that golden ring, haven't we? All of us have. Our children have. You just touched your wife because you knew she married you, and she grabbed the dream. She grabbed the ring. It's gold, not brass. It's gold. But isn't this what this country was founded on? No matter what your station is in life, you can succeed if you work hard. When I was a kid, I was 9 years old. I lived next to a golf course in New Jersey. A friend of mine was a foot taller than I was. We went to the golf course. The head pro came out because we wanted a caddy. Somebody said, you can make some money. Well, back when I was a kid, nobody had a lot of money. You didn't have it. My grandmother raised me and my sister, and we ate dry beef 5 days a week and thought it was good, and she'd flip the bread around each time saying it's different. And that was okay. We loved our mom. But I looked at that head pro, and I was this tall, and we said, we want a caddy. He looked at my friend who was a head taller than me and said, you come back tomorrow. He looked at me and said, you come back next year. And I said, okay, and so did my friend. Well, the next day, I said, let's go to the golf course. My friend said, no. I went to the golf course. He said, he told you not to come back. I said, I don't care. I'm going back. I just might have an opportunity. That's what I was thinking. I got there. I sat on the caddy bench. 2 doctors rolled up in a nice new car. Got their golf bags out. They looked around. The head pro came out. He looked around. Saw me sitting there, kept looking around, trying to ignore me. I stood up. I'm here. And finally he said, okay, kid, come here. Carry both these bags. The bags were bigger than me. I had blisters on my shoulder that were bleeding through a white shirt that I was wearing. When the round was over, 18 holes, they put $1.50 each in my hand. That was the most money I ever saw in my young life. $1.50. I stopped and bought my grandmother an ice cream cone because she loved ice cream, and she said, "How'd you pay for this?" And I said, "Look, Mom, I got money." "How'd you get that?" "I caddied today." "You did what?" "I carried a bag." "What kind of bag?" "A bag with golf clubs in it." "Tell me more. Go back tomorrow. Do it again." And I was proud to do that. That's part of the American dream. I've never forgotten that. You all have a story. You all have the history of it. That's why when we think about this country and the shape we're in, we'll get over this malaise that we're in now, like Jimmy Carter. We'll be better for this. This will make us stronger because we're Americans. We don't quit. We don't roll over. We don't whine. We don't pout. That's a perfect time for the bell to ring because we're ready for round 15. Let's come out swinging, folks. Thank you.
It's been said that we lag behind in education in America compared to the rest of the world. And as an educator, it's an area of concern to me. But if you're elected, what do you perceive the Americans could do to prepare students in the 8th district, and that's your district, to ensure a high graduation rate and have them college or skill trained as adults that can enter into the workforce so we'll have a strong workforce?
I was very fortunate to meet when I came to North Carolina not only a lovely woman, but a very smart woman who was educated and taught school for 15 years. And her students loved her. They absolutely loved her because she championed the cause of the underdog. And she had students in her class that were a major challenge. And she never shied away from that challenge of working with that child that needed this special help. When I look at students from around the world that get the opportunity to come to this great country, and why is it their education levels in different countries seem to be higher than what we have in our country? Do you think for 1 minute in Asian countries and Asian schools that they allow students to run amok in the classroom? You never hear that. You never see that. Because it's a strict regimen. It comes from mom and dad that you're going to behave in that classroom or you won't be in the classroom. I mean, it is outrageous to me when I hear of teachers being attacked in the classroom, teachers being bitten, teachers being attacked. And I'm thinking, where's the discipline? What happened to this thing called discipline? Are we afraid? Are we so politically correct now that we can't discipline children in a school, a 4th or 5th or 6th grade? Let teachers do what they do. Let them teach. They're not there to be disciplinarians. The federal government has mandated it so now that it's almost impossible for states to step in and just say, we want to set regulations on how students are going to be taught in the classroom, what we're going to be teaching, and the discipline. Discipline is an issue in the classroom today. You can ask any teacher that. They can't get rid of a student that's misbehaving. But what you need to do, of course, is look at this because we don't want to drop out. We have one of the highest dropouts in North Carolina. That's not a good thing. A kid 16 or 15 years old dropping out of class, that's not a good thing. They have to be programmed sooner to see where they want to go, where are the special needs. We have one of the finest community college systems in the country, right here in North Carolina. It is highly respected nationwide. Focus on these kids, these problem kids. Get them into a trade. Get them into something where they can be focused and then they can possibly be just contributors to this great thing called our economy. We can't continue to have these kids dropping out. But by the same token, we can't punish the kids that want to learn. There are leaders of tomorrow. There are doctors, our nurses, our business people of tomorrow. And too many times these kids get so frustrated, they just throw up their hands and say, I can't learn because this guy sitting next to me is such a major problem. It's an issue that can't be fixed overnight, folks, but you can't shy away from it. The teachers' unions are so strong right now that there are many people that won't even try to challenge them. I say challenge them. Challenge them to make their teachers better. Thank you.